Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Adrian Yanez to defeat Jonathan Martinez because leg kicks, schmeg kicks, okay? He's going to crowd him with his hands and dominate him. Boxing will be the story of this fight. Mark my words. All right, I'm here to recap UFC Fight Night 230 or whatever the fuck, with Edson Barboza beating Sodiq Yusuff in the main event. One of the best comebacks, one of the best performances from Edson Barboza in his entire career. This was a comeback. I wouldn't say it's one of the best comebacks ever, but for Barboza it is. He had a lot of trouble in round one. He was hurt, and I thought he was going to be stopped. He was going to be put away for like a minute straight, or even longer. And Sodiq Yusuff looked really damn good, but Barboza kept himself in the fight, kept himself on his feet first and foremost, and kept himself safe. And in the end, he lived to fight another round, which he never lost another round. I did think he lost 10-8 in round one, as I think at least one judge gave it. I had it 48-46, though. I thought Edson took over after round one, and he looked really good. Really, really good in rounds 2 and 5, despite his age and the ass kicking he took in round one. It was just an excellent performance from Barboza. He looked as sharp as ever offensively. He mixed shit up. Not that he's never hit a takedown or a submission attempt, although I'd have to think about it. But here he was mixing shit up, but he also threw in the classics. We got to see Edson Barboza almost get a third round wheel kick knockout or whatever the fuck. The same exact thing that he landed on Terry Edom in round 3. Spinning wheel kick, spinning back kick, whatever. But that was also in round 3, and here it was in round 3, and he came close. But Sodiq Yusuff, man, this guy is so tough. He's got one knockout loss, yeah. It was essentially to a slam, a takedown where his head crashed into the mat. That's it, though. Since then, we've seen him bested on the feet, but I think he's going to be really tough to put away, moving forward. He is just tough as nails, and he spent a good amount of energy, I'm sure, in round one. Maybe emptied his tank, so to speak. But I really thought he would get finished once Edson took over the fight. I know Sodiq has looked tough in his other loss, and he actually outlasted Arnold Allen there. But here, once the tide turned and things started to go against him, I thought he was going to drown with Barboza, over the last 20 minutes, so to speak. And I thought he held tough and looked pretty damn tough, but still limited. He doesn't have the skill set where you can go through Edson like Bryce Mitchell did, certainly, on the ground or even on the feet. It just, he had the danger factor, and that was it. But in the points battle, yeah, he wasn't able to match Edson Barboza. Barboza was too technical for him and too fast and diverse, really. Barboza, he's got those incredible kicks. Yeah, spinning wheel shit to the head, but also the leg kicks and body kicks, switch kicks. And by the way, we saw 3 of the best leg kickers in the sport on this card: Edson, Martinez, and Gutierrez. So this was a phenomenal event for leg kickers, and they all won. But Edson definitely had the toughest fight, and he took everything Sodiq gave him in round 1 and, again, showed true grit, which, to have grit, you need to have cardio, heart, durability, all that other horse shit. And Edson showed all of that at 37 years old. You will hear me mention next time some concerns that I took with me from this fight. Like, he was rocked. And he will be maybe 38 next time. And having been knocked out a few times and knocked silly in his last one against Sodiq Yusuff, I'm pretty concerned. And whatever. Yeah, there are some concerns here. But he looked as sharp as ever when it was his turn to be sharp. And I think he proved to be the better fighter than Sodiq Yusuff. Took away the danger after round 1 and took over the fight. Just a great performance from the veteran, coming through in a big way in a main event. And this could have easily been, and maybe it should have been, the launching pad for Sadiq Yusuff in his first main event here. But instead, it's Barboza who turns back the clocks, or the clock. I don't know. I don't know why I commit to these expressions when I don't know what they even are in the first place. But Edson had one of the finest victories of his career last night, and it was amazing to watch. And for Sadiq Yusuff, again, a lot of positive takeaways, but some negative as well. He gave us a good show in his first main event. Got fight of the night. These guys both got an extra $50K, so I'm glad for Sadiq, and of course for Edson too. But yeah, good main event, and it belonged to Edson Barboza. I love it when the veteran schools the youngster. So great win for Edson. Jennifer Maia lost a decision to Vivian Araujo, but Araujo, or whatever, looked really good here. This was a close battle. I actually thought the decision could have gone either way, but I did score it for Viviani. I just thought she was a versatile fighter with a physicality advantage, and a lot of other positive traits where she was able to engage in a close enough fight with Jennifer Maia where her physicality was the difference. And she was able to dominate Jennifer Maia at points everywhere. Jennifer Maia had her moments everywhere as well, but I thought Vivian Araujo did better when she was on top. And she just looked like a high-level, sharp fighter. Jennifer Maia's only lost to the very best in the UFC. And Vivian Araujo, I don't know if she's the very best, but she definitely put herself in with some good company here. Great win for Viviane Araujo. Jennifer Maia, she's a well-versed fighter. You can't relax with her anywhere, and she's very fast and sharp on the feet. But Viviane Araujo, she's tough first and foremost. Again, only been finished once, and it was before she got to the UFC to Sarah Frota, who was an animal. But Viviane Araujo, she can take it and give it just as much. She's more powerful than most fighters, which makes her inherently more dangerous. And I think that's the case with Jennifer Maia. But I thought she would be at such a technical disadvantage where she would be outpointed just from sharper strikes from Jennifer Maia. But Viviane Araujo was very competitive and, again, made physicality the difference maker and got one of the best wins of her career. Maybe the best. She came very close to beating Caitlin Chukagian, but didn't go her way. Great win, and for Jennifer Maia, another tough loss. This girl's proven to be unfinishable since she made it to the UFC, and even before that. And she's only lost to such great fighters, but she fights them so often because she beats everybody else. So yet another loss for Jennifer Maia. I don't know her UFC record, but it's, so-so. But she's a very, very good fighter. And I think Viviane Araujo, leveled up here professionally. And, moving forward, can't wait to see who she fights next. That brings me to Jonathan Martinez versus Adrian Yanez. And Adrian Yanez, man, he looked great. The boxing took over this fight. Those leg kicks had nothing for him. I'm committing to the horse shit from the beginning of the video. Now, look, Jonathan Martinez, I don't know if Adrian Yanez had anything for Jonathan Martinez. Jonathan Martinez dominated this fight. I thought he could have had him out of there in round one. I believe he was, limping right away. He was, chewing up that leg very early, and it seemed like a matter of time. Yanez does have good hands, really, really good hands, but he was not able to throw without his lead leg. And I thought he would have been better prepared because Jonathan Martinez, at this point, he's got a rep, and it's for those kicks. And here that rep is only solidified even more because he got the second leg kick TKO in the UFC, tying Edson Barboza, ironically, and he looked as sharp as ever. I thought this would be a really close fight. I did think the leg kicks could be a big part of it, but I didn't think they would be the only thing about this fight. Did Martinez even throw punches? I don't even remember. But he didn't really need to. And I know they were just to set up his kicks. Awesome victory for Jonathan Martinez. I think I'm done doubting this guy. Ironically, I think I only picked him ever to beat Saeed Nurmagomedov somehow, but I thought even Cub Swanson would beat him and whoever, and I'm done. This guy's fucking awesome. And, I wish he got a chance to show more grit and whatever and durability in more of a fight, but he just dominated Adrian Yanez. He's been finished the once, and it was by Davy Grant, in the UFC. Davy Grant is a weird, unorthodox striker, really a grappler, but he throws such powerful punches from such weird angles where it was just a weird thing, and he caught Jonathan Martinez cold. But Jonathan Martinez, he's a problem for anybody, Davy Grant included, on the feet. This guy's a fucking monster, and he's got leg kicks from hell. And for Adrian Yanez, he had so much momentum and looked so good in every one of his victories, but then the last few months, really, he lost twice and got finished in both of them. Rob Font, who is one of the harder punchers in the division, caught him. And here, the hardest leg kicker, Jonathan Martinez, caught him and really never let him into this fight. So, tough loss for Adrian Yanez. I'm sure his plan was to crowd him and take away the leg kicks or take him down or whatever. I doubt that was the plan, but I'm sure the plan was to avoid the leg kicks in one way or another, and he just couldn't from the very beginning of this fight. So, especially tough loss, even worse in my opinion than the Rob Font one, but great win for Jonathan Martinez. This guy, I'm done doubting him. That brings me to Michel Pereira versus Andre Petroski. This was not much of a fight. Michel Pereira, who I think should move up to like heavyweight. He just looks too big for a middleweight. This guy, he's just fucking gigantic. And here he was bigger and stronger than Petroski. I know Petroski is thick, but Michel Pereira looked much bigger. And yeah, welcome to middleweight. He looked awesome here. And just had too much for Andre Petroski. One big right hand sat him down, and Petroski covered up. He was too fucked up there, kind of like Grant Dawson. And, pretty much accepted the TKO victory. And Michel Pereira, he's a guy with a lot of good traits as a fighter, and something we don't often see from him, or haven't often seen in the UFC, is power. I mean, he got the flying knee over Danny Roberts, and, we can all see he's a powerful enough striker, but he hasn't gone through anybody like this since Danny Roberts. And he gets it done in his first fight at middleweight, being the first guy to beat Andre Petroski in the UFC. And, great fucking win. And tough loss for Petroski. I mean, this is one where, you can't even attribute it to taking the fight on short notice. That would be, if he lost the fight in round 3, it'd be a different story. But here he lost in round 1. This was just always how this fight was going to go, I guess. Power. And Michel Pereira, it was too much for him. So the fight gets settled on level 1 with power. And Michel Pereira, 1-0 at middleweight. And speaking of weight and missing weight and moving up in weight and all that horseshit, C-Rod gets a big victory over Cameron Saaiman. I don't know how big the victory is because there's a gigantic asterisk next to it. He's missed weight 3 times now, Christian Rodriguez. And he's looked great in all 3 of those fights. The Contender Series fight, the Raul Rosas Jr. fight, now this fight. And they're all fights that have gone long, round 3. And he's been, looking good down the stretch. Here I thought he won all 3 rounds. I thought he was just a little too much for Cameron Saaiman, too fast for him. C-Rod is a very good grappler and a very good striker, just deceptively good. He's not the biggest, ironically, the biggest, most powerful guy. He might be the biggest. I don't know, he just doesn't look like it. But I guess according to weight, he is the biggest. But yeah, he's a very, very good fighter, Christian Rodriguez. He's just undisciplined, and I don't think he'd fare well moving up in weight, so he's got to get that shit under control. He missed weight by 4 pounds for this one, as opposed to just 1 pound for the other fights. That's a little more forgivable, although you can't miss weight by 1 pound 3 times without it being a fucking issue. So here, he's missed weight 3 times, and the last one by 4 pounds. I don't know what his future has and what the future has in store for him, or the UFC really, but without any issues and asterisks next to wins of his and whatever, this was just a great win, and he would be a great prospect. He's 25 years old. Cameron Saaiman's even younger. But these guys, I have a lot of respect for both their skill sets, and I think they both have a lot of great traits as a fighter. Unfortunately, lack of discipline is the dominant trait here for Christian Rodriguez. Again, I'd hate to be harping on the fucking weight as he won the fight, but it's the story of the fight. Missing weight 3 times in a row, and then winning a close fight. But, again, I thought he won all 3 rounds. But whatever, who knows how big of a difference not having to cutting the weight is and having the extra weight. So, great win for Christian Rodriguez. But yeah, if he doesn't want this to be the story of every great win of his, then he's got to get that shit under control. And for Cameron Saaiman, I didn't think he looked bad here. I just thought, whatever. I mean, again, he was up against it in a lot of different ways here. And, he's well within his rights to complain, but I just think he was technically bested here by Christian Rodriguez. And I think, Christian Rodriguez, he's just a little further along than Cameron Saaiman, about what their ages would suggest, 23 and 25. I don't know when they started training or whatever, but Cameron Saaiman's still developing, and I still think the world of his future. A very good fighter, and it's good to see his first loss here. It looks impressive. In that he was able to take it and wasn't able to figure C-Rod out, but at the very least, he looked durable. So there's that. Brings me to Darren Elkins. Darren Elkins beat TJ Brown in round 3. I covered this video separately. Elkins is one of my favorite fighters, and I don't know how many more victories he's going to have, how many fights he's going to have, so I figured I'd make a special little separate video for him. I think the world of this guy, and I thought this was almost the perfect Darren Elkins performance. The only thing that would make it more perfect is if he got his ass kicked. But despite him winning, I thought he won round 1, and round 2 was actually pretty close. But despite him doing well throughout the whole fight and never really being hurt, it was still a back-and-forth fight. Every round had one guy reversing the other guy, TJ Brown going for a lot of submissions, and Elkins just twisting and turning his way out, flipping his way, into half guard, side control, and Elkins really won the positional battle, the wrestling battle first and foremost, and then the jiu-jitsu battle eventually. Elkins has a really good back taking, and he was able to take TJ Brown's back a few times. I think he had a good minute or so of back control in round 1, but that top pressure, that pace, and even Elkins' striking was effective here against a more dangerous guy in TJ Brown. Elkins has something that a guy like Bill Algeo doesn't have, and that's that takedown threat, and he's a little faster. It's weird, Elkins being a sharper athlete than somebody, but, he's not the absolute worst, and he looked really good putting it all together, setting up takedowns, and then just sucked the life out of TJ Brown, where in round 3, once he got on top control, it was only a matter of time. And Elkins went to go put him in a crucifix, I think. TJ turned into him, and Elkins took his back and choked him out. Elkins with another 3rd round finish. He is a guy that has gotten a lot of finishes in the latter portion of his UFC career, and it's because his skills have sharpened, and he's become a better striker and grappler throughout his career. And here he gets another 3rd round finish. A great win for Darren Elkins. This is about the same time I think he finished Eduardo Garagori. But yeah, you don't want to be there in round 3 with this guy, especially in a competitive fight, because it's probably not going to be competitive. So round 3, Elkins gets the finish, and TJ Brown, this is another loss, another finish loss of his, another 2 consecutive rear naked choke losses. The guy's definitely vulnerable in a lot of ways, but here, he was in a fight with a guy that he lives in deep waters, as Joe Rogan said before he knocked out Mersad. This guy lives underwater, and TJ Brown wasn't able to hurt him and just made it a positional cardio battle, and he lost it. So, tough loss for him, but at least he wasn't hurt, I guess. Brings me to Tainara Lisboa versus Ravena Oliveira. This was a pretty close fight, but Tainara Lisboa proved to be better. Just better. You know, she's definitely better on the feet with the Muay Thai, but when she was crowded, taken down, she was comfortable on the bottom and getting on top of Ravena every round, she looked better. When she was on top of Ravena Oliveira, she was dominant, advancing position, and had much better top control. But Ravena Oliveira showed she could take it. She showed she could take it. I did think she would probably be finished if Tainara was dominating her on the ground, and she showed she could take it and even gave some back. I thought she had a good little effort there. You know, she secured some top position, I believe, in round 1 and round 3, and made the fight close enough, but she just wasn't able to find a lot of success, even with, you know, some positional advantages. It just, she was never going to finish Tainara Lisboa and really couldn't hold her down. So, tough loss for her. She showed some good traits in defeat, but she's definitely technically a step behind a girl like Tainara Lisboa, who has a bright future. Again, this girl, she's already got 2 losses, yeah. The first one being to Norma Dumont in her debut, so whatever. But Tainara is a well-rounded fighter, and as I said in the pre-fight, she seems pretty damn confident on the ground. And it was cool to see her going that route here, and even though she didn't get the finish, she got the victory with some great groundwork. That brings me to Terrence McKinney, who I'm going to spend more time talking